Hello, how are you? Welcome to Hey Han. I am your host, Hannah Fletcher, and today we have the wonderful pleasure of speaking with Camille Kauer. Let's do this. Hello, everyone. Hello, Camille. How are you today? Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's totally my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to give you the space to be able to introduce yourself to the audience and give them a little bit of a synopsis as to who you are and what you do.
Great. Well, my name is Camille Kauer, and I host the E Spot with Camille, which is my entertainment take or entertaining take on entertainment by getting all these wonderful guests to be my guest on my show. Since I am an actor, SAG-AFTRA actor, mainly do commercial work, I needed a way to connect with other creatives during the pandemic. So it gave me a great chance to really explore that a little bit longer because I was on a radio show where the E spot was like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes 30. So this really gave me a chance to really connect with my audience and my community. And I just love it. So that's a little bit about me. And you can check me out at CamilleKauer.com.
You mentioned that you were on a radio show. What was that experience like? How does that kind of compare to being a host now and having the visual component of your show?
Well, to go back a little, so I moved to America when I was 13. I was put into ESL, English as a Second Language, because my accent was so strong. But when I lived overseas, I always dreamed of the day that I would be in front of the camera. I watched Dallas and Dynasty, the A Team. I'm aging myself, I know, because you're probably like, I only know the reboots, but that doesn't matter. Us old people matter too. So anyway, and when I moved to America, MTV really just started kicking off, and they had MTV VJs, which I tried out for and got kicked out immediately when they found out I was SAG-AFTRA. And I made it to top 10, by the way, for my local area, which was really cool, and got to see Jay-Z perform and talk to him one-on-one. And I always wanted to be a talk show host or be like Oprah or Sally Jesse Raphael, Jenny Jones, all of that. So a friend of mine owned his own radio show, but it was a sports talk radio show. And between you and I, between all of us actually, I don't know much about sports once you get out of basketball and soccer. Like that's I played soccer, and then I was the manager for high school basketball team when I was in high school. So that's the only reason why I knew those two sports. A girlfriend was in town to do the business of entertainment, where she brought in like 13 entertainment professionals. Some were actors, some were casting directors and movie directors and so on. And she needed to do all these different promos. So I was like, oh, I can get you on my friend's radio station. So when I did the introduction, he had me come on with her. He's like, I wouldn't know who she was if it wasn't for you, so you should come too. After the show, everybody was calling him, so he says, and maybe I'm being a little more dramatic about it, but everybody was calling, like, who's Camille? Who's Camille? And that's how it started. So I started working with them. Originally, it was supposed to be every 2 weeks, but of course, I kept booking people every week. So they're like, oh, well, then just come in every week. So I came in every week. I hosted different events that they had within the community, where I got to interview the concert performers, and a lot of people from like when I grew up that I listened to, I got the chance to talk to, like DJ Clue, let me clear my throat guy. Like that was the coolest thing, was to clear my throat in front of him and ask him questions. Like I get to relive my childhood or teenage years now as an adult. It's fun. Like I don't know why more people don't do this, because you tell them you have a podcast and you
Mhm.
want to interview them, they're like, oh yeah, because they love publicity, right? All actors do. So it's really easy to get that chance to really get to connect with people that you used to idolize, or at least get advice from directly from the source. So it was a lot of great way to find out how they go about casting process, because I had casting directors on, like all kinds of things. Like it really piqued my interest into more about the entertainment industry, and also helped me figure out like how I would transition as I get older, because I felt like once you hit 40, your career's over, and I'm 45. So I needed to find other outlets that kept my creative juices flowing, but still was in something I knew about, because I'd only worked in the spa industry, retail industry with makeup and skincare, like very self-serving, and the fact that I always wanted to look young forever. So, and then even like pharmaceutical sales, I worked in that. I worked still in the esthetician space, so I worked with plastic surgeons and med spas and so on. So I with my podcast now, because it's not on sports radio, I can draw in the beauty and design world as well, because when you're working with a bunch of guys, the last thing they want you to interview is a makeup artist or skincare
Right.
specialist. Even if they work on some of the top rappers or athletes, they're not into it. So I'm allowed to expand my interest and learn more.
Well, the nice part about having your own show, and I'm sure this is probably one of your favorite parts in general, is just being able to kind of dictate the type of content that you get to put out. Like you said, you get to work with these guys, that's one experience. But then by having your name attached to something and you being the producer and the backer and everything, you're the one who gets to dictate what kind of content comes out. So that's really admirable that you were able to incorporate your passion for hosting, but also your passion for beauty and makeup. And even how you mentioned that you were an esthetician. And by the way, you do not look 45. I actually did not know that going into this. So you had me fooled. I thought you were like 30. So you definitely don't look 45. It's working.
So. My work range is 30 to 40. So yeah.
You go. Look at that.
But yeah, I'll be 46 in 2 months. So
wow. Yeah.
You only say this for so long.
You do not look it at all. I wanted to ask you, this is really interesting to me. So right before we started recording, I mentioned to you that I'm also having the opportunity to kind of host red carpets and different types of premieres and having opportunities to interview people in person live that it's outside of this particular show. I'm curious to hear your experiences. You mentioned that you've interviewed and spoken to some people at concerts. What was that like for you? How did you feel doing that? Because it's such a unique experience, I feel like, for people in our position. I'm really curious to hear your side of the story. What was going through your head? Were you nervous? Like, how did you prep? Yeah. Did you not prep? What did you do?
Well, so the first event I did was a red carpet event, and that was amazing because it was at the Business of Entertainment event, like I mentioned before. So it was inside of a hotel. It was very controlled. You had a certain amount of time with each actor, each person, although nobody was keeping the time until it got to me. But whatever. No, I'm kidding. And there was even a point where Sean Blakemore, he pulled me aside because he knew that I didn't get a chance with him, and did an iPhone interview because my camera crew, they had already left for the day because, you know how union jobs can be. 4 hours were out or whatever. So needless to say, I was able to get an interview with him with a girlfriend of mine, just holding my iPhone and just making it work. I would say with concerts was completely different experience. You almost don't want to like the actual entertainer is great, but sometimes the people around them are scary. And being a woman, you have to dress in a certain way where you're taken professionally, not taken as a possible groupie. And so there's that part of it that I was scared of because, like you mentioned, I look young. Well, when I'm on jobs, I probably look even younger because I wear a lot less makeup, and I'm usually like in sneakers, and because I need to be able to run and get places. And it was scary. I mean, it was scary. Like, luckily, I had guys with me that worked with me, or I would bring my husband around, which he was a wrestler in high school, so I'm like, maybe he can help.
Right.
Usually the guy talking with them, hanging out himself and not paying attention. So, but it's different. Like, I would always suggest test your audio, because that's been an issue where you're at these different events and you have it set for one thing and then you go somewhere else and you have it set for something else. Like, I still don't remember which one's the right one on the top of my head, but one will collect all the sounds around you and one will only collect like right in front of you. And the images on the microphone in my head seemed opposite. So that was an issue that was, it caught, it was like, missed opportunity because I can't hear you. I can hear the trucks going by. I can hear this and that in the actual in footage. So there's that. I would definitely say be prepared, double check your mics, and if in doubt, like, just leave. Like, you don't have to deal with certain things. Because there was like one interviewer that I didn't interview because he wanted me to meet him at his hotel room, and I was like, not in 2020. We're not doing that anymore.
Oh, no.
Like, we can meet in a conference room or a lobby, but no, I'm not starting there.
Definitely. My last question to you, and I feel like this is actually a good question to kind of wrap up. And I know that you have come from parents that are also in the entertainment industry. You've kind of seen a bunch of different sides to this business. If somebody were looking to break into the entertainment industry, to be a host, an actor, a producer, even, what advice would you give to somebody looking to break in?
I hate when people are like, just do research, study, practice your craft. Like, give me better details than that, like actionable steps. So I always say, start Googling in your area, find out the casting director that's there, find out what agent list they work with. Then from that, find out from the agents what schools they recommend, what acting coaches they recommend. Like, start with the top in that sense, and then actually do the classes, do the work. Because even though I come from a family that worked in the entertainment, they weren't in the position to just give me jobs. I still had to earn it, and I had to work sometimes twice as hard to prove that I deserved the job. And so people didn't just assume I got it because of so and so being so and so's daughter. Which I don't even work in the same area as my dad because he does films and I stick to commercials because remember I'm ADHD. So commercials work best for me. Or maybe like sitcoms would work great too. But like we're not in the same lane at all. And he won the DGA Lifetime Achievement Award. And when I got to go to that, it really just was so inspiring to hear all the different directors and different things. So I discovered that the DGA has their own YouTube page and podcast. Listen to it. You get to hear directly from directors, whatever field you're interested in, like commercials, films, TV. They're giving all the advice in it. Like they're sharing what they're looking for, why they chose certain actors, or why they do what they do. What's their motivation? What's their inspiration? Because sometimes you don't know what you want to do until you did it. Like I wanted to be a makeup artist, I thought, until I did it on a film and found out it's too boring for me. Like I would probably be better as a runway makeup artist than TV because I would like the constant changing and being creative as opposed to being just the everyday at home mom makeup. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a lot to play with, and you're just waiting for lipstick to dry out, to reapply. Like it wasn't as exciting as it seemed as a kid growing up around the makeup trailers and so on, because they were the most fun trailers on film. That and props were probably my favorite ones to hang out. Oh, and wardrobe. And wardrobe. Those are my favorite ones I got to hang out with, and a lot of times work for free. Or shoes or clothes. Like they would give me stuff at the end of the shoots when I was a kid. And then like with my mom, she was a stunt woman. So I knew right away I didn't want to do that because she would come home in bandages and bruises.
Oh my God.
And people are shooting at her or around her because she did like New Jack City, Jason's Lyric. Like she did very, at the time, violent films, but that's nothing compared to now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, neither of them could tell me how I could make it in the business I wanted to do because they didn't do it. And like it's funny, my mom now is signed with the same agent I have. During the pandemic, when we all had less chances to go to the salon, I was debating on letting myself go natural and go gray and so on, and they warned me that I would have to compete with my mom, and that's the kind of life I don't want.
Oh my God.
So I was like, nope, not trying to be a senior citizen any faster than I have to be. There's that element too. So know where your lane is, what your interests are, but listen to other people. Like really take advantages of all these Zooms that are out there. Like SAG-AFTRA has tons of videos that they because I go to the classes, so you're there one-on-one and you get to ask questions, but then they play the replay, except for the questions part sometimes. They put it up on their YouTube channel. So there's so much access right now that doesn't matter where you live, you can find it.
Well, thank you so much. I really agree with the answer that you provided. It was very specific. And also too, I agree that, any experience that I've had, and honestly, I'm going to take your advice and continue to apply it to my journey here as well. Anything that I've noticed, it's honestly coming from networking and digging. And then as soon as you find something else out about either that program, that person, that production, that company, whatever the case may be. So thank you so much for coming on this show. This is, I was telling Camille at the beginning of the show, but this is the first time that I'm on a set and I'm getting to interview someone, and it's not just with a virtual background up in my house. So do you have any final parting thoughts, anything that you would like to plug or anything like that?
No, just make sure everyone knows that they can follow me on Instagram at the real Camille Kauer, Kauer, and I also have a Instagram for my podcast, The East Spot with Camille, and my podcast is available everywhere that podcasts are streamed, from Apple to Stitcher, you name it, iHeart, Spotify, oh my. And you can check out what I'm doing lately at CamilleKauer.com for all the latest.
It was a pleasure speaking with you. All right, that's our show. Thank you so much to Camille for joining us today and for speaking with me and sharing your beautiful story. I really genuinely enjoyed every single moment of it, so thank you. This week, I challenge you to not be afraid to say no. So whether you're at work or whether you're at school and an opportunity arises where you feel obligated to have to take that opportunity, challenge yourself not to. You don't have to look at somebody and flat out say, no, I'm not doing that, or no, thank you. I really challenge you to be able to provide a distraction to the person that it is that you are trying to say no to. So instead of directly saying no, maybe provide this other idea that would be a compromise between the two of you. And that way you're happier and that person is happier. Life is too short to not say no to things that we don't want to say no to. So make sure that you keep this in mind. Make sure that you take this into consideration as you operate this week. And thank you guys again so much for watching. I'm your host, Hannah Fletcher. I will see you through the screen. Stay safe and God bless.